This episode is supported by MonsterJoysticks.com. Level up your Raspberry Pi with our all-in-one arcade kit using genuine Sanwa arcade parts. Joysticks cave dwellers, big ones, small ones and everything in between. They come in all shapes and sizes, and in today's bite-sized episode I've got one to show you which is unlike all the others. In the 80s, if you were a console owner, the majority of the time the stock pad suited you just fine. But with micros, the options were huge and we all had our favourites. The QuickShot 2 Turbo, the Conix Navigator, Speed King and Competition Pro all earned their place in my gaming armoury. But now I'm a little older and the pace of things here in the cave is a little slower, I'm checking out a possible alternative. It's by experienced stick maker Cheetah, so named after the fastest animal in the world, but it's anything but quick. Quite the opposite in fact, because this is the Cheetah Tortoise. And it promises the following: 3 ultra-sensitive fire buttons, an ergonomically evolved control shell, this stick benefiting from millions of years of evolution in its design, automatic centering, and it claims the cage is sold separately. Now, tortoises can be quite shy animals, but I have a little something to try and coax him out of his carefully made packaging, which is complete with air holes. Here you go, little fella. Come and get some tasty lettuce. A fine-looking specimen indeed. He looks like he needs a name, doesn't he? Let's call him Trevor. Okay, so how on earth does Trevor work then? Well, assuming he doesn't object to you touching him up, you place your hand on his shell like so, and rock it in your desired direction while resting your fingers on his 3 ultra-sensitive buttons. It's really quite hard to feel how far you need to move it in order to register a press, and looking down at Trevor's beady eyes as you manipulate him is quite disconcerting really. All my instincts tell me to let go, but we have to push on if I'm to decide if this is the Competition Pro killer for me. I've decided to try a couple of games with Trevor on the good old ZX Spectrum, and so I untangled his wires and plugged him in. He was practically shaking with anticipation. The first title is 8-way scrolling shooter Turrican, and for a fleeting moment I was actually impressed by Trevor, simply because I think I was surprised that it even worked, let alone that the game was playable. It wasn't, you could say, a turtle disaster. My sprite was going where I wanted him to, zapping the bad guys, and Trevor may even have been enjoying the experience. There he is, just look, he's waited decades for this moment and he's loving every minute of it. 2 minutes into the game though, and we had problems. 25 years of studies in ergonomics have tortoise. It's not natural to manipulate Trevor in this way, and my wrist knew it. Boy did it know it. In a very short space of time I had the worst pains any peripheral has ever given me. Trevor was unbearably painful to use. To recover from the pain before the next game, I've given Trevor a little sleeping gas so we can peek inside him. The base looks very much like a regular joystick, complete with suction cups, but look inside and things get very crude indeed. Each directional press is registered when the plastic ring attached to the shell here pushes down to close a circuit on the PCB, a PCB which is finished using sticky tape of all things. Those metal poppers push down when the plastic ring presses against them, closing the circuit and registering the press. And of course, all 3 buttons really act as a single button, registering a press down these wires. And it's all finished up with some rather shonky looking soldering. I think we've seen quite enough. And we need to put Trevor back together again before he wakes up. There was a game in the 80s which was the ultimate test of any stick's durability. It snapped at least 3 of my own. You may have had a similar title in your country, but in the UK it was track and field clone Daley Thompson's Decathlon. So let's see how Trevor fares with this waggler. To give ourselves a concrete benchmark over which to compare this stick, I'll first run 100 metres with Trevor and then we'll repeat the test with the Competition Pro and see which is the tortoise and which is the hare. He's set a fairly pedestrian 12.72 seconds to beat. Let's see how the competition pro fares in comparison. That's nearly a full 2 seconds faster than our shelled stick, and conclusive evidence that tortoises are, it's true, slow. Well, Trevor certainly deserves to return to the safety of his crate, a little shell-shocked by the whole experience and ready to hibernate. This novelty joystick really is just that, a novelty to use once, or of course, if you have a friend visiting, then Trevor makes the perfect player 2 stick for you to gain the advantage. Cowabunga. Thank you for watching, and take care. These lovely patrons on the screen are the reason why Retro Man Cave is possible. If you'd like to join them in contributing to the channel, then check out the Patreon link in the description.